Medical students of the University of Abuja took to the highway in front of the permanent site of the school, demanding that they be farmed out to other schools following the inability of the school to secure accreditation for their program.
We have been here for 8 years, sir. 8 years, somebody that came here for a BSc could finish a BSc, finish a master's, and be running his PhD, almost done with his PhD. And we are still in 300 level. What is the problem? Till now, the medical school University of Abuja has not been accredited.
For a semester now, we've been writing a semester for 1 year, 2 months.
We noticed that there was hold up, and when we asked, they said the medical students were protesting for no accreditation of their courses.
With the action of the students, the University Senate had an emergency meeting, and after a 2-hour meeting, Professor James Adilabu says, in line with an earlier statement signed by the Director of Center for Distance Learning, the examinations disrupted by the medical students will go ahead. He added that the issue of accreditation of medical program is almost complete.
Senate has taken all necessary decisions. Some are not what the Senate will execute. It has to be communicated. However, the one which can be told is the issue of the distance learning exam, which was supposed to have been taken yesterday and today. The exam continues tomorrow.
Commissioner of Police in charge of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Femi Ogunbayode, who visited the university, says the students have a right to peaceful protest, but warned that the police will not tolerate any act of lawlessness.
Yes, we acknowledge peaceful process, but when it comes to a situation whereby you now block the public highway, you start intimidating motorists, it is an act of irresponsibility. We are not going to accept it from them.
Although the situation at the permanent site of the university has returned to normal, with academic activities continuing at the mini campus of the university, the last may not have been heard on the unending crisis of accreditation of some of the programs being run by the university.
Well, that's where we're continuing from this morning as Malaka Gumadu joins us this morning. He's a legal practitioner and a human rights activist. Morning, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
We're looking at this particular case. They're demanding some sort of compensation. I think they say 10 million each. Who knows if that will amount to, because some say 1.14 billion. But first of all, look at the entire scenario. How do you see this going on?
Well, it's very unfortunate. Even looking at the students who had cause to complain, that you would enter a university community knowing exactly what you are going to do, but not knowing when you will leave. But for me, the concern is that of what could be responsible for this non-accreditation.
Yeah.
And from the investigation I have also conducted, I found that 3 faculties are badly affected by that, talking about vet medicine, engineering, and medicine. So bad in medicine that they've not even, they cannot leave the preclinical stage to move to clinical stage. And therefore, you enter the university 8 years after, you're unable to move to the next stage that will, lead into your graduation. I have a concern. I think that at the heart of this crisis is the question of corruption.
Really?
Yes. And what do I mean by that? What is lacking? What has made it impossible for accreditation to happen? What does the NUC or the Medical and Dental Council, what do they look at for? These are basically infrastructural wherewithal, the basic necessities that will effectively qualify a faculty to run the courses. And if these things are not there, to what extent would you say that lack of funding or misappropriation of funding was responsible? I make this point because we all witnessed when the Minister of Education, was forced down to the same institution about 3 months ago. And she categorically said that she was miffed, completely disappointed that given the resources available to the university, the level of infrastructural development is at the stage that it was. Now, there were promises then that in no distant time the accreditation would be completed. Exactly the same thing the Vice Chancellor, is saying today. Now, We all pass through universities. We all also know what goes on there. It will be completely unacceptable that students will, for no fault of theirs, be subjected to this kind of, deprivation. 10 years out of this youthful age of these highly impressionable young men and women, it cannot be accepted, cannot be tolerated in the manner that they are wasting their time in the University of This is an institution that was established in 1998, if I'm not 1988, if I'm not mistaken, and that gives out several decades already passed. As we speak, I'm aware, because I've had cause to really do some investigation. I'm aware that they've not even moved to their permanent site, and that they were even part of the problem for which the faculty of medicine is not accredited today is that they've not succeeded in moving to the permanent site where they have larger space and facilities to engage the students on that professional course. So, and why is it so? The previous vice chancellor, as I understand it, put the whole activity on course to ensure that they move to that permanent site. But soon after he left, there have been a lot of activities so badly that, look, this is not my words. I'm talking about Rufai, the professor, minister of education. I think he was even there with the Minister of State for Education, and they completely condemned this. In a country where you will, after graduation, not have a job, you will spend perhaps another 10 years before you can even get.
But two things. I mean, the minister went there, was moved, but the vice chancellor remains, and the situation remains. The NUC, what's with their accreditation system? Should they be speaking up to the extent? I mean, as much as this case still comes up, shouldn't they have said a thing?
I think some of the contradictions that we now witness are such that will also impose on some of the statutory bodies, not just NUC. We're also talking of the Dental and Medical Council, who participate in these professional aspects of the university administration, to speak up, not just speak up, but to actually get to the root of the matter, confirm as a fact what the challenges are. If indeed that sufficient resources have been deployed in that direction, and we still have instances in which it is difficult